Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome back to Deer Stories. This is the story about my first and only ever velvet buck. It was actually a double down in Kentucky with my buddy Chris Williams. He was the film guy, but ended up switching up and ended up taking a deer also in velvet. What a fun hunt. Let's get into it. All right. First of all, I used to use this scent stuff called Vapple. I don't use any scent stuff anymore or anything like that. I just let the natural thing do its thing. But they got these different scent powders and sprays and stuff like that you can spray on your, let's say if you put corn out, you can put it on your corn, you can put it on your feet or whatever. It's like red apple, green apple, white oak acorn, and persimmon, I think. And the stuff smelled amazing, I ain't gonna lie. But I just don't use that stuff anymore. It's just extra money that you really don't need, I don't guess. But by all means, if that's what you want, do it. Anyway, I put some feed out here in Kentucky in this spot and used that Vapple. I think I used the green apple, I believe is what it was. And I started getting a mountainside load of deer. Because you go up this hill and there's a little knob on top. Well, the knob is tiny, and that's really the only place you can hunt or actually have a good hunt without hunting a straight drop off. So this little knob right here is where I set everything up at, and I had a ton of deer coming into this stuff. I was like, man, this is a lot of deer. I didn't know there was this many deer on this side of the road. Well, told my buddy Chris Williams about it. I said, hey, I got a ton of deer coming in. I said, we got a really good chance to get a velvet buck. I said, bring your bow with you. I said, I need a film guy. I said, if something happens and I shoot one and we can get you one too, we'll do a double down. He said, all right, cool, let's roll. So September 3rd rolls around. Got everything ready, got everything set. I had put more stuff out like the week before just to make sure it's set for a week with no scent or anything in it other than the Vapple spray. And we get there, park at the bottom of the hill. Got just our normal stuff on that we normally wear. I think I had my camo pants on because it was going to be a trek up this mountainside and we were going to be sweating by the time we get up there. And we walk up there, get set up. I go get an extra spray on the leaves and all that with that green apple and sprayed myself down. And I don't know if he knows it or not, but I sprayed him down too. He was kind of behind me and I was just like, but anyway, had the scent spray, the apple and all that stuff, plus the elimination stuff that we already had on our clothing. But we were set up, ready to rock and roll in the stand. Did a little quick interviews, things like that, and then the deer started coming in. Started seeing some smaller bucks, a little spike, I think. And I mean, he was a spike, but he was like that. But we was sitting there, and I heard something crashing in the woods. Over to my right, I'm like, man, what is that? I mean, because it was like running in. I turned around and looked, and here come this deer. I start freaking out. I was like, dude, there's a buck coming. There's a big buck, big buck. It looked like a giant to me at the time. You can obviously see he's not a giant, but in the woods coming at you like that, and you're not expecting it, he looked like a freaking monster. And I was like, big buck, big buck, big buck. So we got all set up. Chris is in my ear, just, calm down, relax, make a good shot, blah, blah, yada, yada. It's really nice to hear that whenever you're in panic mode, basically. You get that deer fever and you start getting excited. But that deer came in, started walking down to the right. He was getting within 15 yards. He was starting to get into my shooting lanes, and he was coming right at it. I said, all right, I'm ready for this. I double checked with him. You ready? He's like, I'm ready. I'm on him. He walked behind a tree. Chris was like, wait, don't shoot. And I'm like, dang it, man. And he finally came out, and I let him have it. I had an Obsession bow. I can't think of was it Obsession Evolution maybe? Maybe that's what the bow was, an Evolution. It was an Obsession Evolution. Anyway, that was the bow I had. I love that bow, but I ended up selling it and moving on. But anyway, that thing sounded like a cannon going off. It went right through the boiler room. He went, you could see him in the camera. He went as far as we could see him, and it sounded like he crashed like just right over the hill from that. But man, I'm telling you, I started freaking out. I started shaking real bad. I was like, oh my God, oh my God. And Chris is like, hey, just calm down, calm down, calm down. The deer didn't run off very far. You know, there was other deer around, and they ran, but they didn't run very far. So I was like, okay, well, let's switch it up. Give me the camera, grab your bow. We'll do a little interview. We'll get this thing. We'll see if something else comes in. So we're sitting there. He does his interview, and we're sitting there a little bit, and all of a sudden the deer just start kind of filtering back towards us. Well, the deer that we actually came in there after was wide. He didn't have real big tines. He was a young deer, just like this one was. And his tines were only about like that. But he was pretty decently wide. In velvet, I was ready to take him right now. You know, I just wanted a velvet buck. That was the whole goal to this trip, was to get a velvet buck. And, well, this deer starts filtering towards the deer that I shot. I'm like, dude, you got to take him. I said, if he gets down there another deer, I said, he might go. And he ended up coming around, and I tried my best to be like, wait, I don't, hang on, there's a limb there. But he ended up shooting him. He couldn't hear me, and the limb kind of blocked the shot, but he shot him in the spine and dropped him. He ended up rolling over the hill, but we ended up getting him taken out pretty quickly. I mean, just a double down in Kentucky I never expected. That was probably one of the most fun hunts I've ever been on. I mean, absolutely amazing to sit in the stand and to take a couple velvet bucks in the same evening. A blast. There's actually a video on the Amazon Rain Chicken page about this hunt. It's called Velvet Dreams 2. I will put the link in the description. If you want to go check it out, you can check it out. Check them out. They do some killer hunt videos. But that's about all I got for you. This is the velvet buck, the double down in Kentucky. Really appreciate y'all watching these deer stories. And until the next one, thanks, y'all.